and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm sharing 5 of my favorite meal ideas, favorite recipes for the week. I hope this gives you lots of dinner ideas and meal inspiration while you make your meal plan. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that little red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out my channel and I super appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. So dinner tonight is just gonna be like a chili mac pasta. I'm totally making up the recipe, but I'm just using up what we have. So I have some elbow noodles, a can of corn, some chili beans, some pasta sauce, an onion, and then I also have some ground beef thawing out. So I'm gonna go ahead, chop this onion up, probably use about half of it, and then throw it in the pan with the ground beef. So I've got my ground beef going here. It's almost done, just got a little piece in the middle. Mine was still frozen, so it's taking a while. And then I'm just dumping in my elbow noodles right into my boiling water. My ground beef is all done. My noodles are almost done. I'm gonna go ahead and dump the rest of the ingredients in. So I'm just gonna dump the chili beans, the corn, and the meat sauce all right in here. Drain the noodles off and mix it all together. And then for some extra flavor, I'm just gonna go ahead and add in a little bit of chili powder. You can add more or less, just depending on how much you want. I'm not gonna add too much just because I do have a toddler eating this. So now that my pasta is all done, I'm just gonna go ahead and top it with a little bit of shredded cheese, turn it to low, and that is it once it's all melted. And then for my veggie tonight, I'm just gonna go ahead and do some steamable broccoli florets, add a little bit of butter, a little bit of salt and pepper, and it should be good to go. This next recipe is going to be pizza burgers. It's super kid friendly and it's one that my mom used to make for us when I was younger. So all you're gonna need is a pound of ground beef, which I have thawing out. You're gonna need some shredded cheese to go on top, some hamburger buns, and then you can either use pizza sauce or you can use tomato sauce and make your own, which is what I'm doing. So I just have 2 cans of tomato sauce and then garlic powder, oregano, onion powder, and Italian seasoning, a little bit of sugar to make it a little bit sweeter. And then mushrooms are optional. My husband doesn't like them, but I'm going to be using these. And then a little bit of salt and pepper for your sauce. my ground beef is completely done. I've got my oven preheating to 375. I'm gonna go ahead and just dump in the tomato sauce. I'm gonna start off with 1 can, and then I'll add probably part of this rest of the other one, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of onion, garlic, and all of the seasonings that I mentioned before. So I added about 1.5 cans of the tomato sauce, and then I'm just gonna dump my mushrooms right in. You could also add these right on top of the mixture when we're done, on top of the actual buns. You'll see what I mean here in a minute, but I usually just add it right into the mixture. So just let this all heat up, and then we're just gonna go ahead and get our buns all ready. So then just go ahead and spray a baking sheet, and you're just gonna lay out all of your buns. I forgot to mention this, but I did pop these in the oven for just a couple of minutes until they're just like a little bit toasty to touch. And then all you have to do is stick on your meat mixture right on top. And then you're just gonna top all of these with your favorite cheese. I'm using Fiesta blend. It doesn't matter what you use. And then you're gonna stick them in the oven for like about 10 minutes until they're nice and toasty and the cheese is all melted. And then for my side, I'm just cutting up a little bit of this zucchini, and I'm gonna throw it into a pan with a little bit of butter, olive oil, salt, and pepper, fry that up for a few minutes, and that will be our side. So this next meal is going to be chicken and gravy. I think I'm gonna put it either over rice or noodles. When I was going through my pantry, I realized that I had like 4 packets of just chicken gravy mix. So all I'm gonna do is take a couple of chicken breasts and these packets, throw it in my crock pot, let it cook, and then I'll serve it over rice or noodles later on. It looks kind of funky right now, but I'm sure it'll taste really good. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this on. I think I'm just gonna do low because it's only 10:30 in the morning, so it has quite a bit to cook. I'll check back in a bit. So to go with the chicken gravy, I'm just gonna go ahead and make some rice. I always make my brown rice in the oven. Might sound weird, but it works so good. I will leave the recipe down below. It's so easy, and I'm actually only gonna make half of what the recipe calls for. So I'm just gonna go ahead and measure out 1.5 cups of rice, and then let's see, we need 2 teaspoons of butter, half a teaspoon of salt, and then I'm boiling 2 1/3 cup of water on the stove, and then you just kind of throw it into a pan and throw it in the oven. I just wanted to show you guys how easy and how nice this rice is to make. It's so fluffy and it's just like perfectly done. It's not sticky. So if you've never tried doing it in the oven, I would highly suggest trying it. So this is after about 5 hours. The chicken is fully done. So I'm just gonna go ahead and shred this and put it right over the rice. If you want your chicken and gravy to be super meaty, go ahead and add another chicken breast, or you can add 2 large ones. I use 2 small ones. It's still really good, but if you want it more meaty, just go ahead and add an extra one. For dinner tonight, we are having breaded chicken tenders. So I'm just gonna go ahead and toast the panko breadcrumbs first. This allows them to get nice and crispy in the oven. So I'm just gonna do 1.5 cups of this, spray it with some olive oil, and then stick it in the oven for about 5 minutes. I preheated my oven to 395 degrees. So for the batter for the chicken tenders, you're just gonna need 2 tablespoons of flour, half a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of mayo, 1.5 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, some pepper, an egg, and you're just gonna throw it into a bowl, mix it all together, and then we're just gonna dip all of our chicken strips right in here. You're just gonna mix it together. So I got all of the chicken tenders breaded, but I did notice that I was gonna run out of the panko halfway through. So I went ahead and just mixed the toasted with the untoasted, and I'm sure it'll turn out just fine. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop these in the oven. So dinner tonight is going to be some stew. I'm gonna go ahead and actually use venison though, but I'm using this McCormick beef stew packet. I'm starting off with 2 pounds of venison. This is just like stew meat. And then I'm going to be adding in 3 tablespoons of flour right into this and a little bit of oil and browning this on all of the sides. Alright, so I've got my stew meat in here. I'm just gonna turn this on to like a medium-high heat, add a little bit of salt and pepper on top, and that's about it for this. I'm just gonna let this brown on all the sides until it is browned. So while your stew meat is cooking up, you're gonna go ahead and prep all of your veggies. I did this during nap time because it's too hard to try and cut veggies with kids, but I'm just using about half a bag of frozen green beans. This is probably like, I think I did about 5 potatoes. They're just russets. And then this is like 4 stalks of celery, 4 carrots, and then this is about half of a white onion. I normally use a whole one, but I'm just using what I already had in the fridge. But you're just going to get all of that ready while your stew meat is cooking up over here. So you can see it's starting to brown. You don't need to cook it all the way through, but you want it to be nice and brown. So my stew meat is all brown. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my beef stew packet. I really like this one from McCormick. It just has really good flavor. So just dump that in, and then you're also gonna be adding the water. I usually start off with about 3 cups of water, and then I'll probably add a little bit more later on. It really just depends on how many vegetables you add, how much water you're gonna need, but I would say start off with about 3 cups. And then you're just gonna bring this to a boil, and then we'll be adding our veggies and the seasonings. Once everything has come to a boil, I would let it cook through for maybe like 5 minutes or so, not too long. Just make sure your meat is getting cooked, and then just go ahead and dump all of your veggies right into the pot, and you're just gonna let it simmer for like an hour. And then for seasonings, I like to just do a little bit of minced garlic. You can use regular garlic, but I'm lazy, and I usually just use this stuff in the jar because, let's be real, kids, I don't have time. So I just do like a couple scoops. And then I also add in quite a bit of this garlic salt. I really like the Lowry's one. I've tried other garlic salts, but I just really like that one. And then I also use the Worcestershire sauce. Probably like a teaspoon maybe. I did decide to add like another half a cup of water, I would say. I just don't want it to not cook as well because there's not enough water. I would say you want it almost covering your vegetables. And then once everything is mixed together, just go ahead and turn it down to a simmer and let it cook for about an hour or so. You just want to make sure all the vegetables are cooked through. So it's been about an hour. I'm just gonna add a little bit more salt and pepper, but other than that, it tastes really, really good. I just tasted it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dish this up. for today's video. I hope this gave you some dinner inspiration for your meals this week. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!